Yeah, maybe I'll start this with some numbers actually. I mean, according to a survey which is we did on last December, that 91% of Middle East employees they are expecting to a total change, especially when it's coming to a shared devices or to the interaction with the printers, interaction with other people, the way they work. We saw many offices that are really not even going back to their offices. Some of them they already announced. Some of the big companies they announced that forever. They said we will never go back to offices. We can if we can manage all our business remotely. So if you think about these numbers that's happening now and these surveys are going around everywhere. So the way of business is totally changed, and which has required a lot of automation, a lot of new trends, a lot of new technology to adapt with this new situation. Even from a health and safety actually measurement. I mean, contactless, for example, social distance in the offices, in government. Now you can see even in the last few weeks, a couple of weeks, like even in the UAE, like the government, they announced if you don't have the vaccine, if you don't have the PCR, you're not allowed even to visit the offices, for example, for a meeting, just for a meeting. Thinking about that, I mean, the automation will be very important, and the trend and the technology also, it will adapt with that. And we actually in Epson, I would say, as a technology owners, again, because we are developer of our own technologies, even our devices and having the robotic division is really growing very fast in the last few years. And we saw huge growth happening during the COVID, because one of the fastest growing business that we have is our robotic division. We have our robots where we manufacture our machines and use for different industries, for manufacturing and for industrial applications. And we saw a lot of demand actually coming even from education point of view. Actually, people they start here, for example, in Ministry of Education, they start including the robots in their studies and their curriculum. And this is all changing the way. Even changing the ink and maintain the machine, they are thinking about. Still early, I think, and this is a very long-term maybe plan. But again, the COVID maybe speed up that. But even thinking about repairing things, self-repair. I mean, we just launched a program a couple of months ago for most of our high production machine with the self-repair services. So no need even to have an engineer to visit you and repair the machine for you. A very high value product and very high production also machine. You could do the service yourself. You can replace your print head yourself. You can replace many of the spare parts yourself without even require any tools, with a minimum reach to the machinery or interaction with some people coming from outside the company. So print services, for example, without the automation and without the development and the automation, it will be very challenging now, actually, how to send people, interact with them, getting an agreement. We are sometimes not in our offices, so web to print is very important. Having the self-repair is very important. Replace some of the manpower with some robotics and automated services is also very important. So I think it's a trend. It will not be in a day and time, and that suddenly we can have everything automated and technology are changing. But I think it's a new trend, of course, and we saw these changes even in our industry. That a lot of new requirement coming in the market that we never heard about it before, when it's related to automated and the minimum reach to the machine and minimum reach to technology.
What do you think, Philip? How can the demand, the trends, the upcoming trends in the industry, how can they influence the demand for digital printing machines?
It's not been very good. I mean, the fact that malls and commercial centers have been locked and have been restricted was not beneficial for the signage industry, specifically the digital printing signage. So that didn't help. And that's a worldwide trend. People are not going into malls anymore. When you look at the US, young generation are not going to malls any longer. This is where their fathers and the older generation used to go. So from that point of view, that's not a good trend for digital printing. Also, what you see, of course, is the digital panels. I mean, these LED screens, etc. So that's affecting it a bit. I think to reverse that trend would be difficult. I don't think it's possible. I see that as a one-way trend. We can help maintain a presence. Customers have to weigh the benefits of having digital print out, digital decoration. Physical, as opposed to these screens, etc. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's unfortunately it's not easy. Not easy in 2021 retaining all this signage.
What do you think, Ayman and Halim?
I think I might I might not fully agree with Mr. Philippe. Probably I might looking more. I think agree with Mr. Philippe in the pandemic. Everything was frozen. It's clear. It was very bad for all of us. But I think for retail industry in specific, for two reasons. First of all, after the market was open back, or we are back to life, going back to the street, and the shopping malls were open back again. I think the tendency of the retail industry to recover increased number of campaigns and tried to put some investment. So the frequency, for example, in campaigns and sale and in-store activation, and drove some good volume. This is beside the advisory signage that I talked about, that was there during the pandemic itself, or the lockdown itself, if I may say. But after that, I saw that the retail industry, I think Shihab, Halim can comment on this as well. The retail industry put a lot of effort in the promotions and campaigns and activation in store. Even they started to adopt floor signage, the advisory signage, even to try to bring the customer back, because again, e-commerce took for 3 months 100% market share or market from in-store sales. So now in-store sales and shopping malls are trying to recover back, and they are trying to bring the customer back to their store. And again, from my point of view, still during the weekend and these activities, still shopping is an experience. Yes, I might be buying a lot of my stuff online, but I still go to the store and I still enjoying making physical shopping. And otherwise, I'll stay my whole life inside a closed room doing everything online, buying online, working online, learning online. Mentally and psychologically, we cannot as a human being to take this. So that's why still the physical activities has to come back. It will come back. We cannot stay. Yeah, we might be more productive now working online. Our meetings, we shrink the topic that we used to discuss it in a couple of hours. We can finish it in 30 minutes online meeting, but we cannot live all our lives online in closed room in capsules. We have to go back to life. We have to have physical events, exhibitions. We have to go to the shopping mall. All this has to come back. Otherwise, when we will use our cars, all this has to come back. Otherwise, the economy will collapse. So the driving force from governments, from human being nature, and so on, to make this back, I think this will bring the physical activity. And I feel, as I mentioned, from our volumes, at least flatbed and roll to roll, I'll talk about, and even toner production print, we witnessed during Q4 big recovery because of this tendency, from my point of view, to go back to normal, if I may say, life, and the pushing towards that direction.
That's an interesting point, Ayman. Coming, yeah, Halim, would you like to add something?
Yeah, just I believe we all agree here that the printing industry is really changing a lot. No doubt. I think we all agree on this. The point what I would like to add is really like we can see like high quality with high level of customization and flexibility will be required in the future more and more. That's the trend. That's the way we see it. Looking at the same time at other point, I would like to mention there is high demand on contractual lease, MPS, and this is, maybe due to, which Ayman, I believe he mentioned in the beginning, to more pressure on finance and cash flow management. That, so contractual leasing, management print surfaces, we see it, that's a trend, and that's a future thing, not future, actually, it's now we have to look at.